Just for the record, my name is Unity Dow, and the purpose of this press conference is to share with you my views on Frans Moseveni's actions. With more than 39,000 views, he clearly has an impressive following. And since he has made it his mission to keep you reading about me every single day, it is in my interest to offer my side of this unfortunate chapter in our country's justice system, because this is where we are. I'm being cyberbullied, harassed, defamed, and slandered by a group of people hiding behind a pseudonym. I say that I've been bullied because I've been repeatedly mentioned in posts that are intended to, and indeed, portray me in very bad light. I've been repeatedly tagged to ensure that I read what Museveni writes. I say that I've been defamed and slandered because a lot of untruths have been said about me. I'm a member of parliament. I'm a former minister, and I've called a press conference to address my being bullied on social media, specifically on Facebook, bullied under circumstances that are more a comment about where we are as a country than what is said about me. No one, certainly not a member of parliament, should have to do what I've been forced to do today, because we should not be where we are right now. We should not be where we are right now. There have to be processes and procedures that I should have been able to employ to address this issue long before it reached this stage. If I can't find protection in my very privileged position of member of parliament, what about the ordinary citizen? I'm bullied, I'm defamed, and slandered by persons who will not show their faces. They call themselves Frans Museveni, and they present themselves to the entire world using a photograph of a Ugandan man called Hamis Bigundu. Pause a minute and consider the implications and possible ramifications of that one fact alone. No one should be able to attack you publicly, naming you, naming your family members and your businesses without disclosing their own identity. And certainly, no one who believes in the veracity of their statements need hide behind a pseudonym. I'm being cyberbullied, defamed, slandered by persons who claim access to police investigation files and records. That claim alone should concern every person who believes in justice and the rule of law. Indeed, if indeed Mr. Frans Museveni has access to investigation records, there can only be four possible explanations. The first is that he stole the records. The second is that he bought the records. The third is that they were gifted to him. Or the fourth is that he works for the DIS. Any of these possibilities should keep you awake at night. Frans Museveni makes all kinds of allegations against me. The allegations or attacks that I'm aware of can be divided into three broad categories. First, they are the pro-DIS stance posts. Frans Museveni attacks me claiming to do so in support of or for the benefit of the DIS. The new DIS, the DIS of today, as he calls it, they make it very clear that is the new DIS that they're talking about for and support. They made that point repeatedly, but at no point has the DIS distanced themselves or itself from those pro-DIS attacks on me. There are also the pro-Mosau stance attacks. Frans Museveni has repeatedly attacked me, claiming that I'm a part of a scheme to oust Mosau from power. We can all agree that reference to Mosau is reference to His Excellency, the President of this Republic. I don't think we can agree about that. Mosau is also the president of the BDP. I have not seen anything done or said suggesting that the office of the president or that of the BDP has distanced themselves from Frans Moseveni's pro-Mosau posts. I have not seen that. There are numerous allegations in which it is stated or insinuated that I have been meeting with opposition politicians and anti-Mosau BDP members. Blatant lies have been shared or reshared, and all under the stated objective of preventing my success in ousting Mosau. Cyberbullying, defamation, and harassment are crimes and actionable wrongs, whether or not they are done to protect the emergence of a faction in a political party. The first I learned about the crocodile faction was on Facebook from Frans Moseveni himself, but that is not even the point. The point is that it cannot be acceptable in a democracy to be criminally bullied to prevent you from exercising your constitutional right to assembly and association. It cannot be right. It is particularly alarming that the criminal bullying is done by a person or entity publicly claiming protection of a state organ. How did we get here? Corruption and theft allegations against me. Frans Moseveni alleged that I'm corrupt, and I'm a thief, and repeatedly threatens to share evidence relating to my corruption. He's very clear that his sources is the DIS and that these threats are in support of or at the direction of the DIS. I deny the allegations against me, but even assuming that I was the most corrupt person in the world, even assuming that they could be proven in court, how and when did Botswana deteriorate to a point where state organs sponsor trials by Facebook or on Facebook? Where is the rule of law? How can it be remotely acceptable for the DIS to avail records of investigations for public consumption by Facebook users? I've been asked if I have reported Frans Moseveni to the authorities. My first answer is really, I should not have had to do that, because Frans Moseveni has reported himself. He has reported himself to authorities and they did nothing. He has tagged the president, he has tagged the vice president, he has tagged the DG of the DIS, he has tagged every person in authority, or almost every person in authority in this country. So he did not need to be reported, he reported himself. No one with the power and authority to protect me can claim not to be aware of the bullying, of the harassment, and defamation directed at me. There was even a declaration on Facebook by one individual close enough to the BDP leadership to know the truth, that Moseveni is protected. I reported Frans Moseveni to the vice president. My report was neither acknowledged nor responded to. I've reported Frans Moseveni to the Minister of Defense, Justice and Security, to the Commissioner of Police, to the Chief of Staff, and to the PSP, and all have advised that I make a formal complaint to the police. I have taken their advice and done just that. I do not wish to go too much into my report to the police, where I've promised the investigating officers not to do anything or say anything that could possibly hamper their work. I've communicated directly with Frans Moseveni, or at least two Frans Mosevenis. I've come to the conclusion that Frans Moseveni is not an individual, but a project executed by a group of individuals under the direction of persons who have promised, under the direction of persons who have promised and up to now have availed protection from any legal sanctions. It is not one person. It is a group of people. It is a project that's directed and is under protection. Individuals and protectors who are not constrained by natural rules of nemo judex in causa sua. No man can be a judge in their own cause, or the audi alteram patem rule that says, hear the other side. Individuals and protectors who act with impunity. In conclusion, let me assure Frans Moseveni that he or they will be unmasked. They will be identified. They will face justice. And should that be the case in any country that calls itself, as should be the case in any country that calls itself a democracy and has a functioning justice system. The question, though, is why is this happening? For personal entertainment, I don't think so. They could dance if they want to do. For pay or for a cause. I say evidence suggests that it is for pay for some members of the team. And of course, for the project itself, I believe it's a cause. I will pause here and ask you to ponder, what is the cause when you look at all the posts, the many posts? And I encourage everyone who has been bullied or is being bullied by this project to report the matter to the police. If we don't act now, very soon we won't recognize this country. I thank you for listening. And I'll now take questions. A feature of all investigating tools in the world. You understand? Lawful intercepts is one way you collect evidence about people when you have reasonable grounds to believe that a crime is being committed. Just like, searches and seizures. The police can come into your house if they believe that you are hiding things, and they can obtain a warrant. Sometimes they can come without a warrant if they believe that you may hide them in the meantime. The police can arrest you at the airport under what they call arrest suspected defuga without a warrant, because maybe there's a case they see at the airport, they can arrest you. But the thing is, there has to be a process of doing that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with lawful intercepts of information. The problem of the original draft, which was worked on and fixed, was that could happen without any warrant. But go anywhere. How else do you think you are going to break up a drug ring? Because somebody's sitting in Japan, one in America, one in Botswana. If you just go back and do some research, and you realize one of the biggest intercepts was a 2-year work by international police security officers all over the world, of offices or state organs all over the world. It took 2 years. For them to do that, they have to pretend they are part of you. For them to do that, they need to pretend that they are a drug user. For that, what do they need? They need to have assumed identity. They have to pretend that they actually work maybe in an airline, for example, when they're actually operatives. You need this. So let's be very, very clear. I support lawful intercepts law. I do not support that there can be unfettered powers to the organ. So I totally supported the law as amended by the minister. Thank you, sir. I have reported the matter to the police. I'm very confident that the police are serious about unmasking Frans Museveni, and I do believe very soon we will see changes in that account. I mean, first of all, look what he's done. He's using somebody's image, a living, breathing individual, a very wealthy man for that example, for that matter, in Uganda. Do you think that man is going to sit there and see his face, his profile being used in Botswana for political, and other, purposes? I mean, imagine, and do you think that man, if he ever came to Botswana to sue, do you think he's going to sue the poster? No, it's going to be the government of this republic. This man is not hiding. Repeatedly, he puts his face there, using somebody's man, and nobody's saying anything. So I really think that the thing is, what I do believe in life is that the majority of people are good people. The majority of people are good people. That's why there are fewer people in jail than people outside, jail. But the problem is that bad people are generally bold, they're aggressive, they are powerful, and therefore that's why they shut down those people, the majority of people who are actually good. And I think there comes a time when people say, enough is enough. Enough is enough. I just don't see how this man can just every single minute, be posting vile things about people. If you really do have evidence against me, for God's sake, be a whistleblower. If one office won't listen to you, go to another one. You can't, you can't harass me out of affection. I'm not in affection, but even if I said, you cannot threaten me out of affection. I mean, that's not how it's done. So, and what is his interest? How can he be interested in supporting Mossad, supporting GIS, and also supporting you, pretending to be supporting you because you are anti-corruption? And nobody's looking at, what is the end game for you, Frans Museveni? I really do believe this press conference gets people talking, gets people in their own homes, in combis, at workplaces, and say exactly what that gentleman was talking about. The problem, sir, the one who talked about lawful intercepts, sir, the first question, the problem is not so much the lawful intercept that you should be worried about. What you should be worried about that if If police records, like this man is claiming to have police records, he says that all the time. If police records can be availed to Facebook users, it means even with legal insertap, even with what we have, even with what the controls that we have in place, that information can be sold, can be gifted, can be availed to the public. And what does it say about this country? I'll tell you what it says. It says, I can tell you that if this continues, no other security organ or agency in the region or in the world is going to collaborate with us. They will not. If records of police can be given to somebody and they publicly say, I have case so and so, I have case so and so, I have case so, do you think if you are investigating a case, you are in the US and you're talking with Interpol here, you're going to give that information to, you're going to look to Namibia, you're going to Zimbabwe, and try to find around the region, is there anyone we can talk to about this ring? Because you don't want to be sullied, you don't want to be sullied as a state organ in your own country. So I think that we should be worried about. I need evidence, I need more data. Okay, I can either pay you, whoever has got the, the resource to actually find the IP address and find this person. I mean, you understand, which, I can either invest my own money into that, or I want to trust the state. I want, and of course, once they have that evidence, there are two options, they don't, and they are not mutually exclusive. There's also the criminal, part, of course, there's also the civil part, because there's been defamation. Cyberbullying is a crime, but all crimes also have a damage to it. I own a business called The For Guest House. He has been putting it, on social media. That is costing me business. Who's going to go to an establishment where the person is corrupt, where the person, is holding secret meetings, where the person, is against, their favorite president? Who's going to do that? You asked a very important question, as to have I reported to the structures of the BDP, okay? I'm going to decline to answer that question for a very, very good reason that is not known to you. It is not in my best interest right now to say that. Okay. We just had a second thing. I feel like there was ma'am there. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I mean, first of all, I issued a press statement to say I'm going to call a press conference. Okay? When you are under attack, you must look around and see who your friends are, and you find them. Some of them, you may have cowardly friends who are hiding in the bushes, and you know who they are, and you know when they will support you, but you are correct. I'm here alone. It's a press conference, about Frans Mosebeni. Maybe they didn't think it was a conference about the BDP. Maybe they didn't think it's a conference that concerns the BDP. But I say it concerns everybody who is aware of the actions of this person or persons. I engaged him on Messenger, and he was very clear and very confident, very arrogant, that he cannot be touched, okay? It was very, very clear. He gave me a number that I called, and he said, yes, it is me, Frans Mosebeni. The following day, different voice answered. Okay, that doesn't say, that's why I asked the second question. Why do I think it's more than one person? Still managing the account very clearly, but then he said, at first he was a bit confused and he said, I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't talk yesterday. And then later, I don't understand why that man, why Frans Mosebeni, I don't know who Frans Mosebeni is. And then later, I don't know why Frans Mosebeni gave you my number. I know the man, but I'm not him, and I don't understand why he gave him a number. I think this is malicious. I think he reported from the same account that says I'm Frans Mosebeni. So clearly it's more than one person. And clearly, on the second day, they didn't realize that they'd be talking to that account the previous day. That's why I say it's more than one person. That's why I say that. And thirdly, you asked the question, is there BDP? BDP? No. My party is a huge party with members across this country. Okay, and any disagreement between you and him, if you are, is not a disagreement with the party. I am a very proud member of this party. And I do believe that until somebody comes through that front door and tells me that there's a conflict between me and the party, then there is no such conflict. I mean, there's no doubt that Museveni acts like somebody under protection. There's absolutely no doubt. If you had to write that, I get. If you had to write what is writing, where Nagamoso, I know how to think. I get, and then at the end and say, the DIS of today, is a good DIS. Unity DAO, you were not attacking. You understand? DIS will actually issue a statement and say that, the person who's speaking on behalf of whatever is not a member of the DIS, is not being sent by the DIS. We distance ourselves from that. When state organ does not do that, they are saying we embrace, we endorse, in fact, we even encourage. There's no doubt about that. I wouldn't say, I know that there was a post, I've seen it, of a particular person who said Museveni is protected. She's stating a statement of fact. Whether or not she is part of the protection, I don't know. But she's stating a statement of fact. Nobody cyberbullies at that. Anybody, if that account would have been taken down a long time ago. You understand? It would be taken down a long time ago. Somebody would have reported it. Somebody's portraying us in bad light. They cannot keep on citing the president, citing to support the president, claiming to support the DIS in this manner. They are making us a laughing stock of the world. They are making this country a laughing stock of the world. Somebody put it down. Unless somebody thought it was a good thing. How can it be a good thing? And then you had another question. No, I'm not in affection. I honestly, if you don't know me, I mean, if you knew my life, you would know what, if you had to go into my phone or look at the last 10 days or the last 20 days, who I met, where I was, first of all, we attend Parliament virtually. So we don't have to go to Parliament at all. If I really was an affection, you see me up and about. I'll go to my office because it's a very, you understand? So if you're staying at your house, watching Parliament online or at your business, when you get time to be on a faction, I am not a member of any faction. In fact, I honestly can tell you, the first time I had crocodile, whatever, I thought that's another thing. When you slander people, you create heroes, okay? Whoever the faction, the crocodile faction is, right now people know about it. So you actually, I'm sure none of you knew about it until it was said. He probably named it. I don't know whether, did he actually name it? Maybe because he says crocodiles are dishonest, they go underwater, they come out. I don't know where the name comes from. But do you really think the faction will call itself crocodile? I don't know. I know about, but maybe there should be an elephant or a lion. Crocodile? I don't know. But I'm just saying, I'm not a member of the crocodile faction. I didn't even know it existed. I don't mean not be dishonest. There's no doubt that in every political party, there's going to be rumblings. There's going to be, jostling for power. That's the nature of life, okay? But that actually, there is a faction that is meeting routinely, and it's called the crocodile faction. That was news to me on Facebook. And then you ask me why I left cabinet. I decline to answer that question. It is not in my best interest at this point. And it probably is not in your best interest either. For me, from this press conference, for example, is that Museveni stops posting about me. That is success. But I cannot stop him. If he's got protection, he will be stopped by the law. Success for me is when you are talking about it and talking about the issues. I didn't come here to be tried, to answer to criminal charges by Museveni that I'm a member of the faction, that I'm corrupt, that I want to oust Museveni. Those are not real issues. The real issue is whether or not it should be possible for him to use the standard, the flag, of a very important organ and just gallop through life defaming everybody. Okay, I don't want to go into that, at this point. But what I will say is that, often we think that you work for democracy and then you get it and then you sleep. You work for women's rights, you get them and then you sleep. You work for gay rights and you get them and then you sleep. But I think life will, recent events, even just worldwide, will show you that you have to constantly and continuously, fight for democracy. And that you can just, because I think we have been so proud, for so long that, we are a democracy, we believe in the rule of law, we trust our courts, we trust, the executive, we trust the parliament, we trust the media, but I think that this can happen, that cyberbullying can happen under your watch, the media, but you've never even questioned that. Instead, the front page you come with is a new faction has emerged. But you are not interrogating, where did I get that information? And who was selling it and why? If they've sold it once, you can say yes. But if consistently this person is posting and then it's alarming. And the reason is that, you have all become complacent. You have to consider, and I'm going to repeat, I'm not a member of any faction, I'm not, the crocodile, but that's not even the issue. Even if I were, you cannot threaten me out of assembling and associating with people who I think may be like-minded. That faction is not right to exist. There are political ways in which you go and cajole them, get them to your side, negotiate with them, but you don't send a cyber bully after them. You just don't, not in a democracy. Even if I was in prison right now, being convicted of murder, you have no right to actually take records that you say you got from a state organ and put them in the public forum. That is not how justice works. If you really believe you have them, if you believe that you can legally post that stuff, post it on Facebook. Just do that. If you think it is okay to do that. Otherwise, please take them to the lawful authorities. You already say they are you said they're already from the state. That's why you say you have them. So I don't understand why they are with you. I don't know whether, so no, he's very boastful. He's very boastful, that I'm a very polite man. If you see me, you'll see that, I really, I have a lot of information about you and other people. I know you met with John Muriri. I know you met with Damilo. I mean, he just said, oh, that's what he tells me. I even thought he may be soft in the head, to tell you the truth. He said, are you sure you are right? I honestly thought maybe that's when at first I thought, okay, maybe I should just disengage. Maybe this guy is actually, a mental case because of the way he was speaking. I said, yeah, but it's a dangerous mental case if he is. The police, I promised the police, that for them to do their work. Because you can imagine that some of the information they have to do, they have to go and find out information. So I don't want, honestly, people are working under pressure. And they also assured me I was not the first person to report Museveni. So clearly, also anybody else here who's been bullied by Museveni or out there, I think, we need to be able to actually lead a class case against this person. But no, I will not say that. I'm not disappointed at all, about the police, actually. And I have to say, when I first, not at all, not how they handled my matter. No, the press conference is not about, so much about the police, okay, and how they're working. I have not given up. I do not believe they've been slow, so let's not even suggest that, because I really do respect the officer and officers who are handling my case. But the purpose of the press conference is really, this man has been talking about me on Facebook, okay? And I thought, instead of answering him on Facebook, let me cooperate, together so you can know what I think of what he's doing and what my views are. That's really is where we are. And also they can have a chance to answer, because somebody has actually, one of you has asked me for an interview. And I thought, if I do that, it's more, it's not far-reaching. Maybe we scripted the questions, maybe, so I wanted you to see me, to decide for yourself, whether you can trust what I'm saying or not, because I'm sure as journalists, that's what we do. You can see whether or not somebody is you. In the last 20 days, I think this is my best morning. I'm the kind of person who, if I really believe in something, it's very, very, very difficult to shut me up. You can bring all the dirt. You can bring all, the allegations. You can, I'm not an angel. I don't know any angels. But I can tell you, one of the things I do is I do not steal. One of the things I do, people who know me will tell you, I've known this woman, if we are fighting over 100 pula and I think, you tell me I owe you 100 pula, I think I owe you 80, I will give you the 100 pula. I'm not the kind of person who wants to leave a trail of unhappy people in my circle. That's not who I am. That is why I'm not afraid to come here. I will say again, I'm not Angel, and therefore I will have made mistakes, in my life. But one of the things I do not do is steal. And I can tell you that, as journalists, I don't know, you should come together and actually move an application for the disclosure, full disclosure of everybody in cabinet for the last 10 years. Where did they get their money? What did they get the money? How did they buy that? You do that. I'll be the front of the line to give me my records. I'll be people. I don't want to talk about myself in that respect, but I'll tell you that I can account for every penny I ever made. It is a fact. People say, but it's a fact that 2018 I sold a school for 85 million pula. I'm not a rich person, but I'm not a poor person either. I owned that school for 30 years. I've never owned a Mercedes-Benz because that's not how I live. I've never lived in Pakalani in a plush house. I live in Odi. And therefore my life is such that I can afford my life. But I can account for every penny I've ever made. But I want to tell you, look around. Who do you know who was actually without a job 3 years ago? But right now is richer than you are. And you go and audit that person. Thank you. With that, I want to end this press conference. Thank you very much.